Imagine you're starving. You've been walking for hours under the scorching sun, and you finally find a dead animal, already being picked apart by vultures. But there's a problem. Your hands aren't strong enough to tear through the thick hide. Your teeth can't crack the bones to reach the marrow inside. You're going to starve. Unless you do something no creature on Earth has ever done before. 3 million years ago, one of our ancient ancestors picked up a rock and changed the course of life on this planet forever. This is the story of how we became human. Our story takes place in East Africa, roughly 3 to 2 million years ago, a time when the world looked nothing like it does today. The climate was shifting, dense forests were giving way to open grasslands. And in this changing landscape lived creatures that weren't quite apes, but weren't quite human either. These were the early hominid species like Australopithecus and early Homo. They walked upright on 2 legs, had slightly larger brains than chimpanzees, and faced a brutal reality: adapt or die. Food was scarce, predators were everywhere. And unlike their forest-dwelling cousins, who could still climb trees for safety and fruit, these hominids had to survive in the open. The solution wouldn't come from evolution alone. It would come from something far more revolutionary: innovation. Before tools, life was simple, but harsh. Early hominids like Australopithecus spent their days searching for whatever food they could find: roots, berries, insects, the occasional small animal they could catch with their bare hands. They were omnivores by necessity, eating whatever wouldn't kill them first. But there was a problem they faced every single day. All around them, locked inside animal carcasses, tree bark, and tough-shelled nuts, was an abundance of calories they simply couldn't access. A dead antelope represented weeks of nutrition, but without sharp teeth or claws, most of it was useless. They could only nibble at the softest parts before larger predators drove them away. They were scavengers at the bottom of the food chain, waiting for the real predators to finish their meals. And their brains, while slightly larger than other apes, still couldn't quite imagine a solution that didn't exist in nature, until one day, someone got creative. Somewhere in the Olduvai Gorge region of Tanzania, approximately 2.6 million years ago, an early Homo habilis, handy man, did something extraordinary. Desperate for food, this individual picked up one stone and struck it against another. The result: a sharp flake of rock broke free. It doesn't sound like much, but that simple flake had a cutting edge sharper than any tooth or claw nature had ever produced. And suddenly, everything changed. With this sharp stone, our ancestor could slice through tough animal hide. They could cut meat from bones. They could access bone marrow, one of the most nutrient-dense foods available, packed with fats and proteins that would fuel larger brains. For the first time, a hominid could process food that was previously impossible to eat. But here's what makes this truly revolutionary: making that first tool required something unprecedented. It required the ability to imagine something that didn't exist yet, to understand cause and effect. If I hit this rock with that rock, something useful will happen. And then to actually do it with precision. This wasn't instinct, this was thought. This was problem solving. This was the birth of technology. Once the first tool was made, knowledge began to spread. Youngsters watched their elders napping stones, striking them at precise angles to create sharp edges. They practiced, they improved, each generation got slightly better at it. Archaeologists have found thousands of these early tools, called Old Awan tools, scattered across East Africa. They're crude by our standards, just simple choppers and flakes, but they represent something profound: cultural transmission, teaching, learning, the accumulation of knowledge across generations. And the impact on evolution was immediate. With access to more calories, especially from meat and marrow, hominid brains began to grow. A larger brain requires enormous amounts of energy. Your brain uses about 20% of your body's calories, despite being only 2% of your weight. Tool use made that possible. Fast forward about 900,000 years to roughly 1.7 million years ago. A new species had emerged, Homo erectus, upright man, and they took tool making to an entirely new level. Meet the Acheulean hand axe, possibly the most successful tool design in human history. These weren't random flakes anymore. These were carefully crafted, symmetrical, teardrop-shaped tools that required dozens of precise strikes to create. They were sharper, more durable, and multipurpose, used for cutting, digging, scraping, and even hunting. Here's the incredible part: This same design was used for over 1.5 million years. Homo erectus carried this technology across Africa, into Asia, and eventually Europe. Everywhere they went, they made these hand axes, teaching each new generation the exact same techniques. Think about that. Your iPhone will be obsolete in a few years. The hand axe design lasted longer than any human civilization, any language, any written record. It was perfect for its purpose, but tools didn't just help our ancestors survive, they transformed what it meant to be human. Tool making required planning, patience, and fine motor control. It encouraged cooperation and teaching. It literally rewired our brains, creating feedback loops where better tools led to better nutrition, which led to bigger brains, which led to even better tools. Tools also changed our bodies. Our hands evolved smaller, more precise fingers perfect for manipulation. Our jaws and teeth became smaller because we no longer needed them to process tough raw foods. The tools did that work for us. Most importantly, tools gave us something no other animal had: the ability to shape our environment instead of just adapting to it. We weren't trapped by our biology anymore. If we needed something we didn't have, we could make it. So what can we learn from our tool-making ancestors? Here are the key takeaways that might surprise you. 1. Tools came before big brains, not after. Many people assume our ancestors got smart first, then invented tools. But the evidence shows the opposite. Tool use drove brain evolution. The act of making and using tools actually made us smarter over millions of years. 2. The first tools were hilariously simple. We're not talking about spears or bows. The first technology was literally just hitting one rock with another rock. But that simple act required cognitive abilities, planning, precision, understanding cause and effect that separated us from every other species. 3. Tool-making was a social activity. These weren't lone inventors working in isolation. Tool-making required teaching, watching, learning, and cooperating. Our technology and our social nature evolved together, each reinforcing the other. 4. We've been upgrading for millions of years. The same drive that makes you want the latest smartphone is the same drive that pushed Homo erectus to refine the hand axe. We're a species that constantly asks, how can we make this better? It's literally in our DNA. And 5. Tools made us human. Without that first stone tool, there would be no agriculture, no cities, no writing, no internet, no space travel. Every piece of technology you use today, from your fork to your phone, is a direct descendant of that first sharp rock, created 2.6 million years ago. So the next time you pick up a tool, a knife, a hammer, even a pen, remember that you're participating in the oldest human tradition. You read the latest link in an unbroken chain stretching back millions of years to a desperate ancestor who looked at a rock and saw possibility. That first tool didn't just help us survive, it made us who we are. And the question we should be asking now is, what tool are we creating today that will echo 3 million years into the future? Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this journey back in time, be sure to subscribe for more.